Hello, okay, doing this quick video, well it might not be that quick, but it's June, it's the 20th and it's 10 days since the court hearing for precarious eviction after I was basically left here in this property by a partner, a former partner who decided to go off and live with another woman who married this woman within 6 months. He was engaged within 6 weeks and he married this woman within 6 months. And I have been here nearly 2 years now. And luckily I have survived this far. Now I want to talk about two different cases because there's my story and there's also another woman in similar circumstances to me. And what happens when you've got this type of scenario? Basically, we were both abandoned in properties in Spain. Both of us didn't have names on the deeds of the property, and both of us weren't married. All right. In both cases, the partners decided that they had found another woman and then moved on very quickly. Okay, and the legal advice that I received and the legal advice this other woman received was very similar, because we were both told, do not leave the property, because obviously this is the negotiation point. This is like you're actually living in that property and that is your negotiating point. Now obviously I had tried to negotiate something from the start, and my partner decided, you can't negotiate with me, you can't negotiate a gift. But he didn't say it that like that. It was very nasty the way he said it, and there was quite a lot of other things that were very nasty. Humiliation and violent rage outburst in 23 minutes of a conversation, which I didn't even get to speak. And that was a recorded meeting, by the way. It wasn't something that was gone in the ether. It was an actual recorded meeting of 23 minutes where he basically verbally abused me, humiliated me, called me a loser, said my, what was it, my punctuation was shite and my spelling was shite. He basically went to town on us. Now, the situation is, both of us were given the same advice: do not move out of the property. And the other woman involved in this scenario was offered help by her partner, and that help was he would help her to move into another house that she could buy, smaller obviously than the villa that she was used to, and he would help her with that. So she went ahead, searched for a place to live. I think this was 2021 when we met and we discussed this. So she'd found a place, put a deposit down, and was expecting through his solicitor, who she was communicating through, that the rest of the funds would arrive and she would be able to complete that purchase. And she had packed a lot of her belongings ready to actually move. And in Spain, you obviously have a limited time slot in order to complete on a property. And if you don't complete on a property, then the buyer obviously can keep your deposit. I mean, the sellers can keep your deposit. And that's what happened, because she wasn't able to complete. She didn't get the extra funds. Nothing came forward from her ex-partner. And so that was after she'd been 2 years separated. 2 years in separation from her partner. Now, in my case, that was 1 year when we basically 1 year I had tried a lot of different things, but the advice I was given, the legal advice I was given, wasn't just stay in the property, because a lawyer who listened to the recorded conversation that I had Well, I didn't have any conversation. The one-sided conversation from him, then the advice I was given was file a gender violence complaint. And I said to that lawyer, well, I don't really want to do that. Can you actually write to his lawyer and help me to negotiate an outcome? And that lawyer that I was speaking to actually repeated the phrase, did you not hear what he said? Did you not hear you can't negotiate with him? And the lawyer repeated that I should go and file a gender violence complaint. So that was the only difference between my scenario and this woman's scenario. Now, 3 years down the line, this other woman has finally had a settlement from her ex-partner, and she has tried to move on. And even 3 years down the line, and even in receiving the money to go ahead and buy a property, there was still some reason why her former partner would not comply to a simple request which would have allowed a sale to go through quickly. So even 3 years down the line, there was things that happened that was put blocks on how she would move forward. But hopefully and luckily now she has found another property and she is moving forward, and she will be able to start her life over again.